My son was born when I was only 15 years old, and I've been a single dad since I was 18. It was hard living for a long time money-wise, but I always tried to do best by my son. Today I own my own gym, and my son is now 22 and going to college and works at my gym full-time. He came out to me when he was 14 years old, and I've always been supportive of him and his identity. I've been with my fiancé now for about 2 years, and while she does come from a very deep religious and conservative family, she has never had any issue with my son, at least nothing she has ever expressed to me. My son has been dating his boyfriend since he was 18, and I've gotten to know him really well. However, my fiancé told me recently that she does not want my son's boyfriend to come to the wedding, nor does she want her parents to even get the inclination that my son is gay. That if they found out, they would have a complete fit. This really bothered me because I refused to ask my son to go back in the closet. What is going to happen in the future? When my son gets married himself, will they want him and his husband barred from other family events? He's my son and will be the best man, and it would be unfair to deny him a +1 because her family has an issue with gay people. When I told her this, she got very angry with me and told me that I was being selfish and overdramatic, that it would just be for this one day, that she wants the perfect wedding. I told her that this was unacceptable and that I was not going to ask my son not to bring his boyfriend. It's my wedding too, and I was his boyfriend there. After that I got the silent treatment for a day, and since then it hasn't been discussed again. However, it has left an extremely bad taste in my mouth and has me contemplating calling the wedding off. I do not want to marry into a family that would potentially discriminate against my son. I love my fiancé very much, but my son will always come first. I told my brother, and he said that I was being the idiot here, that it would just be for one day, and that since my son is an adult, it's unlikely that he would have that much interaction with his step-grandparents in the future anyway. I still don't feel comfortable about the entire situation, and I'm really thinking about calling the wedding off. Would I be the idiot if I did this? Am I being unreasonable here? You would only be the idiot here if you ask your son to go back in the closet because she can't handle reality. She loves herself more than you or your child. Calling off a wedding is always cheaper than a divorce. It's really gross and disgusting that she isn't willing to accept your son and his partner into her new family, especially at your wedding. As a straight man with a gay son, this brought a tear to my eye. Don't let her create this rift between you and your son. Don't. I have little doubt your son may forgive you, but it will hurt, and it is completely unnecessary. Your son's feelings take obvious priority of the feelings of your in-laws, who aren't even related to your son. Not the idiot. This is a hard one, but it looks like you guys aren't ready to get married yet at the very least. Talk to her and tell her you're not okay with not including your son's boyfriend just because he's gay. And it won't just be one day. Like you said, this could lead to further issues down the road, and it's easier to solve it now. Not the idiot. Kids come first. Always. I don't want you to call off a wedding, but man, this could definitely be a big red flag. Like you mentioned, when your son finds a husband, is he banned from family events? Gotta hide him in the family photos. I'm 29, going to get married this September if a certain unnamed virus let us. For important context, I am white, but my fiancé, 31, is Chinese American. I'm going to admit that I'm one of those girls who has been planning her dream wedding since I was a girl. My husband doesn't care as much and told me that I could plan the entire thing to my heart's content with one caveat: there's an important Chinese tea ceremony, wherein the bride and groom make tea for both sets of parents, and then the parents give them gifts. It's incredibly important to him and the only thing he wants on our wedding day. Okay, he also consulted on the food and he wants to marry me lol. He's been planning that, which will happen shortly before the wedding and will be a smaller ceremony with only family and very close friends. Today, while zooming with my parents said they found the whole ritual absurd and stupid and that she was going to skip it. Well, considering they're an integral part of it, that doesn't work for me. They couldn't even explain why they thought the ritual was stupid, just that it was. I basically told them that if they skip the tea ceremony, they should skip the wedding as well. That led to a lot of crying and arguments, and now my parents aren't talking to me, and my sisters have sent me texts about how irrational I'm being, how I'm being cruel, and how I'm being a Britazilla. But this is important to my future husband, so it's important to me. It's the only thing he really insisted upon for this wedding. But they are my parents and I want them to beat my wedding. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. That's absurd. It sounds like this tea ceremony is basically part of the wedding. I'd be more understanding if they were hesitant or nervous about messing something up, but it sounds like they're just being stubborn and controlling. They're culturally incompetent at best and racist at worst. Either way, better to not have them there if they're not going to respect this important tradition and be supportive of your wishes as a couple. Not the idiot. Your husband is going to be your new family, and it's important you stick up for him and what is important to him. And it seems like a super weird thing that your parents are so against this and also that they can't explain why. I wouldn't back down on this, and if your sisters keep it up they can skip it all, as well. Not the idiot. I find it really odd that they can't give you a specific reason why they find it odd. If I were you, I would go back to your parents and further explain the situation. It might also help if your fiancé explains the ceremony to them and its cultural importance. Also, I want you to ask your parents how they would feel if your fiancé parents skipped out the wedding ceremony, especially if a religious one, because they found it stupid. Last fall, my husband and I went to my cousin's wedding in another state. In the months leading up to the wedding, my aunt, cousin's mother, griped about how unconventional the wedding was going to be. She was happy for the couple of course, but she didn't like that the wedding wasn't going to be in a church or banquet hall. The wedding was going to be a small and intimate affair in a scenic national park, and then the reception was going to be in a nice rental house in the woods. I thought it sounded cool and unique, but my aunt hated the idea of it. She didn't tell the couple though. Just complained about it to us behind their backs. We traveled 600 miles to the wedding. We treated the trip like a vacation. Spent some money on lodging, food, sightseeing, etc. The day before the wedding, my aunt rounded up me and my family members and told us that she just found out that the dress code for the wedding was casual. Not gonna lie, many of us were stoked. I hate dressing up, so I was all over the idea of a casual backyard BBQ wedding. My husband and I had already packed nice clothes, so we wore them to the ceremony. A few of my family members showed up to the ceremony in t-shirts and baseball caps. Immediately after, we changed into comfortable clothes for the reception. I wore a hoodie, Daisy Duke shorts and cute sandals. I noticed that the bride's family members were still dressed up, but I figured they didn't get the memo. The bride and groom and the wedding party were dressed to the nines, which I thought was weird for a casual wedding. The reception was awesome. Nice dinner, fancy lawn games, a bonfire. We had a blast. So, we just found out that the bride and groom were very upset with us for wearing casual clothes to their wedding. They thought it was very disrespectful. Apparently my aunt lied to us because she wanted to sabotage their wedding, and they were upset that no one checked with them about the dress code. This explains why my cousin and his wife have been standoffish toward us since the wedding. To be honest, we think they're overreacting because we all had fun at their wedding, and it's not our fault we got bad info about the dress code. And they never specified the dress code in the invitation. But I still have to ask. Am I the idiot? Everyone sucks here. Your aunt is a horrible person. And I am pretty surprised that you fell for the lie. If someone other than the bride and groom told me the dress code was casual, as in Daisy Dukes and a hoodie casual, I'd be checking with the bride and groom. And if an unusual dress code wasn't specified in the invitation, I would assume I was meant to dress up, as is the norm for weddings. Your cousin and his wife are not overreacting. It would have been viewed as very disrespectful to show up dressed as you did. They didn't know why you were all wearing casual clothes, and even if they now know your aunt was trying to sabotage their wedding, that's still going to cast a shadow over their memories of the day. You're the idiot. Casual attire to a wedding isn't a hoodie and trashy shorts. We think they're overreacting because we all had fun at their wedding, and it's not our fault we got bad info about the dress code. And wow, instead of apologizing you blame the bride and groom. How old are you? Massive, you are the idiot for the aunt. Minor, you are the idiot for you and not the idiot for the cousin whose special day was messed up. I'm a little baffled over it though. Your aunt was bitching about it for ages. You didn't actually check what was an unusual dress code, enough that you'd expect it to be highlighted on the invite if it was, and the other guests hadn't changed, including the bride and groom. It's not your fault that you got bad info, but come on, the only person who mentions it is the one who's been moaning. Didn't one person say, isn't that a bit odd? The only weddings I've ever had with dress codes mentioned is where they either have something really specific or something different to the usual smart attire. You're the idiot. Daisy Dukes and a hoodie are not casual in terms of wedding attire. Casual would have been nice slacks and a pretty top or jacket. Your attire was more like Saturday night at the stock car races. I would have been upset with you too, and the family members in t-shirts and ball caps were similarly underdressed. It was completely inappropriate regardless of what your aunt said. I live in the mountains and have attended a lot of casual outdoor weddings. Women still wear sundresses, men still wear slacks and a button-up. In the future, know that it is always better to be overdressed than underdressed. I'm going. I have no idea yet, going to a wedding today. It's okay here, I'm not in the United States currently. We were both invited to a wedding to one of his cousins. I do singing like semi-professionally and I'm known in some areas, but I am not famous and generally people wouldn't know me. So, no one had told either of us that they wanted me to have a performance, which honestly costs quite a lot since it's private and I only do maybe 3 a year. I've only done it as a gift for my best friend. Like normally, they would have to schedule in advance. I've refused my own cousin. I know people think that's rude and maybe even inconsiderate, but I don't want to do it if you don't connect with me unless you want me to sing. So we are staying at the hotel where it's happening, and the mother of the groom came and knocked on our door and told me to go and rehearse and get a feel for the stage. They have set up an entire agenda for me and which songs I'm supposed to do. I was flabbergasted and just closed the damn door and yelled at my SO. It's his damn family. I am not ready for a performance. I didn't bring my performance gear, my sister sew dresses and do my outfits, I haven't had a cut for my hair since the plague happened, and most importantly they didn't ask me. They just assumed. It's really rude and inconsiderate. And I don't even have my band here. Like, they are the most important people. I look cray without them, and it's just a mess. There is just a myriad of reasons why I am not doing it. I've told them no. They don't think that's fair. I feel like I am being fair. Apparently I weren't even going to get to eat during the wedding. I flat out refused. Now, people are pissed at me for being this way. I am getting told, you aren't that famous, don't flatter yourself, etc., and that, I'm tearing the family apart. How selfish I am, and just all in all a really bad time for me. I feel like I aren't really an idiot, my SO doesn't think I am an idiot, but his father does as well as his cousin's family. Not the idiot definitely. Why on God's green earth would anyone think it was okay to just assume you would sing is beyond me. Your level of fame has nothing to do with it. If they want someone to do something during the ceremony, then they need to ask. Otherwise, they don't get. Plain and simple. Not the idiot. You are a person, not a jukebox, and you get to decide when you sing. If you only want to sing on snowy Thursdays in July, that's 100% your choice. You only want to sing when you're well prepared and either for significant payment or for people you care a lot about and who care about you. Not unreasonable. They're not offering money, and by not asking in advance and not even wanting to feed you, they are ruling themselves out of the second part too. Like, hey, you're a guest at our wedding so should do what we want, but also we're not going to treat you like a guest at all. I thought at first that they were asking you to sing a song for the ceremony. But they wanted you to actually be their entertainment for the entire night. Oh, hell no. Your skill took years to develop and you deserve appropriate compensation. And if they invited you as a guest and didn't even inform you, that's entitlement and I am 100% behind you. Not the idiot. Hubby better be supporting you on this. Not the idiot. If I were you, would ask your husband to talk to the bride and groom and make it clear you were never asked to sing and aren't prepared. He should be clear to them that you're not going to do it. I wonder if someone was supposed to ask you but didn't. Let that person get the blame.